Good morning, Chairperson. Good morning, Minister and honourable members. Minister, you are currently suspended. You are facing serious allegations. By senior officers, you are appearing before this committee. Later on, you'll be appearing before the Commission, where your integrity is under scrutiny. At this point, Minister, before I delve into my questions, what is most important to you? Is it your job? Is it going back into office? What is important to you as you are seated here today?
Well, the most outstanding issue for me that needs serious and urgent attention is to bring down levels of crime in South Africa, especially murder, proliferation of firearms, and the drugs that are all over the country, especially
I'm
in the
sorry,
streets.
Minister, that is not the question that I asked you. I'm not speaking about operational matters right now. I'm saying to you, your credibility is under scrutiny. What is important to you right now, in your capacity as you are seated there? Is it your job? Is it getting back into office? What is it that is at stake that is important to you?
I want to repeat that what is important, I don't want to put me above what I'm saying. What is important is that the government of South Africa, especially via the Department of Police, need to do what I'm saying, bring down these levels of crime, especially the murders and drugs and firearms. That's the most important thing. My side of things doesn't come first. It will come after that.
Thank you. Let's go back to when you first assumed office. General Kwanazi testified that he received a call from Mr. Nkabinde asking what the duties of a chief of staff entails. Can you clarify what those duties are, particularly given the testimony suggesting that Mr. Nkabinde had little knowledge of them when you appointed him? What are the duties of your chief of staff?
Well, the duties of the chief of staff is generally to manage the office of the minister. That has parliamentary business on one hand and staff that is allocated to make sure that they are properly supervised and guided so that they are able to perform their duties such that the minister is able to perform his duties, including responding to questions and other related matters to Parliament. And then on the other is to assist the minister on cabinet-related matters, preparing files and reports as may be required. But on the other hand, also to be able to run your public affairs, that includes constituency, it includes answering queries from the public, and then there are also internal issues like connecting with, among other people, the National Commissioner and other officers, such that there's smooth running between the department and the minister on the other hand, but also work with deputy ministers. So generally, those are the tasks in a nutshell of the chief of staff.
That was a very general response, Minister. I was referring specifically to his employment contract of employment. What are the specifics that was required by him? Does he have the relevant qualifications for this job? Do you know what's his qualifications? Does he have any?
So I will ask you, you speak in a low voice, and I
Oh, I speak a low voice. I was
Yes.
just being very considerate because the last time you said I spoke beyond the heads of anything that was alive. But if you want me to up the volume, I gladly will. I asked you what are the qualifications and the technical qualifications that he has.
well, Mr. Kabinda has a degree that is a BTech in policing and some diplomas and so on. Administratively, I would say he worked in IPID, where he acquired some skills related to policing.
Thank you, Minister. Reflecting on your three, I call them New Year's Eve resolutions. When you sat there and you thought, what can I do better this coming year? Let me come up with these three New Year's Eve resolutions that has fallen on deaf ears. The resolutions or the directives prompted by your concern for South Africa, particularly the Cape Flats and the high murder rate. And I've listened to you over the last 3 days, and at every given opportunity, Minister, you mentioned the Cape Flats. You mentioned what is unfolding, and you said it is very concerning. When you decided to disband the PKTT, what did you think was going to happen to that resource? Why did you not deploy that resource to the Cape Flats? What plan, in other words, what plan? Because you said you are concerned about the Cape Flats. So when you disband and you come up with these three New Year's Eve resolutions, what plan did you have in place for the Cape Flats?
Now, the plan that I had for Cape Flats was that once we have a new division coming up that we decided on last year, Operation and Response Service, we would then be able to optimally use all the units like the task force, like the National Intervention Unit, TRT, and then POP included, and give them intelligence capacity. In other words, tie them in with intelligence, crime intelligence. Bring the numbers required to the Cape Flats through the National Commissioner, of course, and make them get detailed information about who owns what in terms of firearms and who are the criminal gangs that are operating here, and so on and so on. And who are they? Who are the operational people on a daily basis? And where do drugs come from, and all of those things? And at one point, I had a meeting, an hour-long meeting with the National Commissioner to say, National Commissioner, we're not sitting comfortably because of Cape Flats. The numbers keep on increasing. The incidents keep on increasing. It was a virtual meeting. And I then asked him, could you deploy intelligence, maybe for a week or two, so that they give us concrete, tangible information, and then you deploy. By that time, we had long discussed and finalized the creation of the division that I'm talking about, because to me, it appeared that you can't use normal policing, uniform police to deal with Cape Flats. By then, we had also dealt with agreement with the city of Cape Town to increase personnel. And so I was imagining a situation where they would be here for a month, 3 months, 4 months to stabilize the area. But you need a harder presence of police personnel and in a sustainable way in the Cape Flats. Otherwise, you will always be undermined and be treated as very weak to non-existence by criminals if we continue the way we continue.
So you are ultimately telling the people on the Cape Flats here today that for as long as the PKTT is still operational, they won't be protected?
No. I'm not saying that.
Because Minister, in the last meeting in November, that meeting where you said I screamed like that, you promised us that in 2 weeks' time we'll be taking a walk on the beach with the provincial commissioner. Did that walk ever happen?
Now, I'm saying, the walk didn't happen because I wanted that walk to be preceded by deployment along the lines that I'm talking about. And I spoke to the National Commissioner for a whole hour. And when I checked National Commissioner, I think it was after a week, have you done what we agreed on? He said, yes, I came to Cape Town, I launched, and one of the deputies even asked, we didn't feel it. And I was actually surprised myself that National Commissioner had come down and said he had done so. So I said what you are correctly saying, but I wanted it to be preceded by visible deployment in the kind that I outlined to the National Commissioner. Not to come and make promises, further promises, not to come and just walk around without any visible action. I stand here to say I didn't quite get what I wanted the National Commissioner to do.
I'd like to say to you that the Cape Flats has been waiting for a response, Minister, for the past 30 years. As things stand this morning, I'm under immense pressure because of the 7 children that were gunned down yesterday in Westbury. This past weekend, we've had over 30 people mass shootings on the Cape Flats. You keep on mentioning the Cape Flats as reason, as your concern for the disbandment of the PKTT, but to date, there's been absolutely no response to those areas, which is a shame. You are meant to be sitting here and reaffirming and giving South Africans confidence in restoring public trust. Instead, in your statement yesterday, you said that we are weak as SAPS and we are unable to respond. That coming from a minister is concerning. That coming from a minister is extremely concerning. I want to ask you, you place great emphasis
Can I respond
on the...
to that?
No, sir. You place great emphasis on the national PKTT and the budget. You're saying that this was a national political killing star scheme.
Honorable James, the witness is requesting the chair to give him opportunity to respond. So unfortunately, you cannot deny him that opportunity. Just hold it there and let's hear what he wants to say, with due respect. Thank you.
Yes, I wanted to say what you are saying is true. And what you are saying is of similar concern, if not greater concern to me. And I do see that up to this moment, I haven't lived up to that undertaking. I confirm that. And it's not only about Cape Flats. As I mentioned in my various speeches, there's Rivali in South Johannesburg, El Dorado Park, there's Soshanguve in terms of Gauteng. And in terms of KZN, there's Umlazi, there's Inanda, which keep on bleeding. In the Eastern Cape, you continue to have issues around OR Tambo district and in Gqeberha. So these 4 provinces are capitals of matters. And it was for this reason that on one hand we made that undertaking, but on the other, we then created necessary capacity and positioning of South African police to actually face up to these areas of high murder rate so that we deal with them. I haven't been able to get my way on that. It's not necessarily to wait until PKTT, but it is important to note that those resources are very much important. And I've assured everybody, it won't leave either KZN or whoever empty-handed, because the structure is up once you have created and functionalized that division that I'm talking about. Because it is the it is the cutting edge, combative side of SAPS that needs to be capacitated for these 4 provinces. Without that combative edge, we're going to be reacting all the time after 6 people have been murdered, 8 people have been, but we don't stand up front and prevent it the way I was envisaging. It's probably these matters, as I say, I work well with the National Commissioner, but I've realized that, well, sometimes he would indicate right and then turn left.
And that is a problem for us as South Africans because it impacts what is unfolding in our communities. I wanted to ask you, you also place great emphasis on the National Political Killing Stars team and the budget. Was the budget allocation for national operation? Was it for national? Because when you say that this task team is not only for KZN, it is meant to serve all South Africans. This obviously implicates, and it implicates the accommodation and travel, the actual budget. The initial budget, was it a national budget or was it just for KZN?
It's a national budget that gets allocated to the national killings, national political killings task team. And beyond March,
Sir, if you may just stop there.
Yes.
So if you're saying that it's a national budget and the members are deployed to this task team, obviously, you know that members in a specific team obviously then has to travel to other provinces in terms of court appearances. How does this impact the case, the progress on the case, when members are having to travel from one province to the other just to appear for a 2-hour court appearance? And how does that impact? Is that a strong strategy? Are we not only supposed to focus on a specific area where there's fire, and this is the reason behind having a specialized task team, where there is smoke, there's fire, to deal with a concentrated area? Because you cannot possibly have members from one task team operating in the entire country. It's not feasible to start off with, and members won't be able to appear in court, because this is what we've seen with all other task teams.
what you are saying relates with what I have in mind and that I've been working on for some time. It makes perfect logic.
So I'm
And-
specifically speaking to the political killings task team.
Yes.
We are saying, you said
Honor-
that
honor-
that
honorable-
task team is
honor-
national.
Honorable James, let me just hold you for a moment and recognize Honorable Ngola and Honorable Ntuli.
Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, yesterday you kept on reprimanding me that I should not bombard your witness with a lot of sentiments and with a lot of questions. And I think Honorable James has fallen to that trap as well. So I think if you can help with that, I think there are a lot of issues, a lot of packages that is giving at once to the witness, and that may find the witness unable to properly intervene on what she wants it to be clarified. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Chief Whip.
No, thanks, Chair. Good morning to you and good morning to colleagues. No, I agree with what Honorable Ngola is saying. When we are listening, as we have been listening for the past 4 days, some of us, the first time I'm speaking in the presence of the Minister, part of what we are also doing is to listen to what the questioner says and what the answer provided is saying, so that we can follow as we prepare for our own engagement with the witness. Now, the way in which the exchange is taking place between the Minister and Honorable James is making it difficult, not just for the witness, but for ourselves as well, to properly follow the conversation, which is what we're supposed to be doing. So I'm appealing as well for your guidance and intervention to ensure that we are all taken along as we should in the current proceedings. Thanks.
Honorable Sauls, I saw your hand was up.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Just for clarity, when the Minister says national Political Killings Task Team. I just wanna understand, the task team that needed to be disbanded was specifically created for operation within KZN? Or is the minister saying that it was created to operate nationally, and therefore the name National Political Task Team, or whether it was just supposed to focus on KZN?
You want to know whether the NPKTT and the PKTT is one thing? Okay. Let me rule on the first point. I want to request you, Honorable James, not to breathe heavily on the neck of the witness. Footsteps are allowed in a race, but when you breathe heavily on the neck of the witness, that may distract the chain of thought. So I just want to request you that you do not breathe heavily on the neck of the witness. And then before we allow you to resume, let's allow the minister to respond to the question that Honorable Sauls has raised, whether the minister, Honorable Minister, the NPKTT and the PKTT, are they one?
They are one. It's National Political Killings Task Team based, but it is based and focused in KZN.
In KZN. Honorable Sauls, are you clarified? Thank you so much. Honorable James, you may proceed.
Chair, I just have a difficulty, even me keeping my trail of thought, when I ask the minister a question and he says what I had in mind. We're not asking the minister what he had in mind. We are specifically referring to the detail and the duties of the national PKTT, and we are trying to determine if this national PKTT was adequately resourced and funded to extend and to do work in other provinces. And so that is what I'm asking the minister. Was the budget allocation, because remember when you put together these task teams, Minister, you book accommodation, you book vehicles, you book laundry, all of those things form part of the costings. Was that done on a national level or was that done on a provincial level? That is what I'm trying to ask.
The budget, right from the beginning of the National Political Killings Task Team, came from national, and it still comes from national. But the National Political Killings Task Team is based in KZN, and its operations are largely, if I could use that word, confined in KZN. They have, however, dealt with a matter or two in the Eastern Cape. They have gone to Gauteng in the form of 10 officers to assist there. And in the three cases that they are assisting in. So, to be honest, Honorable James, when I applied my mind on that day, these are all the questions that I was trying to answer myself. What does it mean to have a national political killings task team when it is actually not national? What does it mean to allocate this budget for operations that are in one province, but not just for the whole province, for a limited category of murders, even in KZN? And even there, amidst a sea of increasing murders, even in that province, and other crimes. Now, I couldn't sit well, and it didn't sit well in my mind to continue with that. The reason for the establishment of the Natal Political Killings Team, plausible at that time, because it was a trend, a fast-growing trend. But I'm now in 2024. I'm 5 months into the office, and I'm applying my mind with the understanding I've gained. And I then say, the best way of addressing this is to really try a smooth overhaul of the system. Not only just that, a number of other areas.
Minister, with all due respect and through you, Chair, we are now speaking into the future. I asked specifically about the budget for the National Political Task Team. Was there an operational budget for only that province or for the, we understand that the actual monies comes from national, but I'm saying the budget of the task team, was it allocated for national operations or just for that specific province? That is all that I'm asking, Minister.
Well, the budget for operations is the budget that is allocated to all provinces, but part of that budget is allocated to for the operations of the National Political Killings Task Team from that budget.
Hey, Minister, you are confusing us here. I'm not even sure how to put this question anymore. Minister, you and I know I've been in this environment for the longest time, for over 15 years when it comes to setting up task teams. Task teams are focused to specific areas. The budget comes from national, but the operational budget is only for a specific province. That is what I'm saying. And I'm asking you, sir, have you been privy to the budget that can qualify your statement when you say it is national? It is national on paper, but it is not, hasn't been operationalized nationally. Am I correct, sir?
Well, I was trying to make it simpler. I don't know why we lose each other, that there would be a pool of money, an X amount of money for operations throughout. And then there will be a cut from that amount for operations of the National Political Killings Task Team, which is in KZN. That's why I'm saying it's part of my concern that we are cutting from reduced resources for the operations of National Political Killings Task Team in one province. I don't know whether that makes sense.
Let's move on to the next question, Minister. The reason why I'm saying this is that you have repeatedly criticized the PKTT for working in silos, for working only in KZN, when they only had resources for KZN. That is the point that I'm trying to get to. Yet,
Yes.
Minister, by you taking a unilateral decision on New Year's Eve without consultation, did you not yourself act in isolation?
Well, I would say no, but maybe the extent to which it was done before the signing may raise those concerns. But I have repeatedly said there were meetings where I made it clear that we need to review, and National Commissioner also spoke along those lines. But I also added before that long before I arrived in SAPS, there was even a memo, as early as, I would say, April, May or so in 2024 before I arrived, that was implementing a new structure which only got signed this year. It only got signed this year by the National Commissioner, which would have addressed all the issues in all other provinces equally or so, and would have made it unnecessary for us to continue with the National Political Killings Task Team. Now, but before that, there's been a work study and a structure based on that study to spread resources and equally to address these concerning issues in each of the provinces.
Minister, you further mentioned that the National Commissioner could have objected to your directive, right? Saying it happens all the time where you have national commissioners sort of having a different approach. In which South Africa is this, Minister? Because is SAPS not an environment governed by instruction and execution where subordinates act out of duty and at times out of fear? Is that not the SAPS environment, that when you receive an instruction, you act on it?
Generally, that is the overall rule in SAPS. But when it comes to Minister and National Commissioner, it's not necessarily the spirit. The spirit is that you have a closer relationship so that there's maximum understanding in terms of what needs to be done at any given moment, so that there's smooth a direction general of SAPS, identifying problems together and resolving them together. And that is what we've been trying to do until later, when I now realize that we're no longer that together as much as we had been before. So the character generally is that from National Commissioner downwards, he gives directions to lower ranks and instructions, and they get complied with. But between the Minister and the National Commissioner, it's not instructions per se. It's more to say, this is the view, and we share, and then we'll move on, by and large.
Minister, the last couple of days has almost felt like an English lesson class, where you're now saying it's not an instruction per se, when this is the culture of this environment, it's a view. I've been stuck on words such as immediately, comrade, acquaintance, all of that, and now we are saying an instruction is a view. When we had witnesses coming before us and saying to us, when you receive an instruction from a minister, you must act on it and you must act immediately.
No, we're saying the same thing. Materially, there's no difference between what you are saying and what I'm saying. All I'm saying is that when I say from National Commission downwards, it's much more stringent, much more streamlined. But I say between the Minister and National Commissioner, most of the time it's discussion. That doesn't mean that in the Constitution there's no directive, there's no space for directives. There is space for directives, and this is what I used in terms of, in this instance, of the three directives that I gave.
Minister, on the counterintelligence investigation, because this is where I believe, this is where the wheels came off. Both General Masemola and Mokanazi testified that you disbanded the PKTT under the mistaken belief that it was the unit investigating drug cartels in Gauteng. Are you aware of that?
No, I deny that very strongly.
But are you aware that this is what they testified?
I'm aware
Okay.
of what they were saying, and I deny it very, very strongly.
Their testimony draws a link between that decision and your alleged association with Brown Mogotsi, who in turn is linked to Kat Matlala, reportedly tied to a Gauteng-based drug cartel. You have denied this claim, but why do you believe two of the country's most senior police officers would make such serious allegations against you if there was no basis for it?
Now, number one, I did say, and I said that there were two ways in which SAPS, or there are two kinds of reaction to my directives. The first one was General Masimbula, to whom I wrote the directives. They were addressed to him. For all purposes, we moved along right from the beginning with General Masimbula. I don't want to lie. We were together up until after March. We were together, step after step, with him playing a role, coming up with phases and all of that. But on the other hand, Jerome Konazi took a much more confrontational line or stance as a reaction to my directives. One is national, one is provincial. Now, why ultimately they would say that, it's something that I'm still quite baffled about, that I'm associated with drug cartels. Now, I'm saying in this room, there's no drug cartel that I'm linked to. There's none. And I've never acted in support, directly or indirectly, of any drug cartel in South Africa. It has never happened.
Minister, are you aware that Brown Mogotsi is linked to Kat Matlala?
In terms of what is coming out now with in the Madanga Commission, it does look like they are quite close to each other, something that I've never been aware of all the time about Brown Mogotsi. It's something that it's just emerging
The
now.
very Brown Mogotsi that has been sending you messages that you said is a crafty character, that you have been receiving messages from him, and you said that sometimes this guy actually makes no sense. So that tells us that there's a pattern of communication. So you earlier on said that you are not linked to any drug cartels directly or indirectly. Based on the fact that you have Brown Mogotsi linked to a drug cartel and in communication with you, what do you make of that?
Well, I'm saying that I do know Brown Mogotsi, and I have spoken to him, and we have met on occasions. Now, I wasn't aware of any other person he links up with in his own time. I wasn't aware, totally unaware. I've never asked him, who else do you speak to? Who else do you do what with? I've never asked him that question. It is emerging only now, all those matters, that all of us are becoming aware of. And I'm concerned about it. That's what I've said. But up to now, I'm saying I've never spoken to to Matlala. I've never linked up with him on anything, from him to me, or from me to him. And we've never met in person. It has never happened. And I've said, even when the word link is used, it is running empty. I've never seen anyone putting on the table anything concrete to say this is evidence of the link. It's an accusation, and that's partly what I'm dealing with here, and therefore, and I did say on the 12th of June, which was something like a few weeks before the Durban briefing, media briefing by General Mchunu, I had convened a meeting where General Masimula was expected to present together with whoever he would have a delegated job to present a special crime intelligence. Why do we have so much drugs in the country? Why do we have so much illegal firearms? And why do we have so many murders and so on? No, it was drugs and firearms. That meeting took place, and I did take a detailed report. It was an effort to understand this on my side, having raised it in November, to then start getting to fight all these matters and reverse the trend that everybody is concerned about. And I do want to repeat, well, in the report, as it turns out now, there was no big five in the report that I received, but there were other, I would say, cartels that were identified, and I want to say that I am not linked to any. So why the two would have come here to say I'm linked, I don't know, but I'm here to hear where they are basing it. That I know, and I've been speaking to Brown, does not automatically mean I'm also linked to people that he speaks to, and I also know the people that he knows. It does not mean that, and in reality, it is not like that.
Thank you, Minister. Chair, I'm losing my trail of thought as a result of the long answers. I just thought I'd bring it to your attention. Minister, if data were to be extracted from your phone, can you confirm that there would be no evidence of communication regarding the work of the Gauteng Counterintelligence Unit or its investigations into drug cartels? Because like I said earlier on, the wheels came off when those 10 members were redeployed from the KZN task team to counterintelligence. So can you confirm that there'll be no communication, no link whatsoever on your phone, should your phone be taken for extraction?
Between who and who?
I'm saying to you again, if data were to be extracted from your phone, can you confirm that there would be no evidence of communication regarding the work of the Gauteng Counterintelligence Unit or its investigations into drug cartels?
Well, if I get your question clearly, is that there would be no link between myself and drug cartels?
On your phone, there would be no communication on your phone, Minister.
Between me and drug cartels?
There would be no evidence of communication on your phone if data were to be extracted from your phone.
There would be no communication with drug cartels. I want to be clear.
This is taking into my time. Minister, if data were to be extracted from your phone,
Honorable James, look, you have to be straightforward with your question because you are asking the witness on evidence that is not before. It's like you are saying in the event there is proof that you have been in conversation with so and so. So that's why you need to be straightforward so that you don't confuse the witness. The witness must understand, because that evidence that he might have spoken to somebody is not before this committee. So ask him the question that you want to ask, but be patient with him, allow him to understand what you want him to respond to.
I'm very patient, Chair, and I'm not sure how else to ask this question at this stage. I'm really not sure why the Minister's not understanding a simple question. Maybe you can put it to him.
I want you to allow him to understand at his own pace.
But it's taking from my time, having to repeat the same question four times.
You will have that time. The question, the matter in reference It's not before the ad hoc committee, it's in the event. So put the question to him, but allow him to understand it to the best of his ability.
I think let me move on, Minister.
I know, Honorable Ngola, we are moving on. Let's not flog dead horses.
Minister, could your relationship with Mr. Brown Mokgotsi, the same individual?
Chair, I think from where I sit, you were making things simpler for me to respond to the honorable member to a question that appears to be quite important.
I'm ruling you out of order because the honorable member has decided not to proceed with the question, so it is immaterial. Erase it from your mind. It is not there. Yeah.
Could your relationship with Mr. Brown Mokgotsi, the same individual who allegedly funded your January 8 guess, allegedly, be the reason a message was sent from him to Matlala, currently in CMAX, informing him that the task team had been disbanded? Do you not see the reasonable link that any ordinary person would see?
There is no request that I ever made to Brown Mokgotsi to organize any dinner for me anywhere in the Republic, not just Cape Town. What would have happened, he would have done that on his own. Whether it is funding from whoever, it was not necessarily as per my, or from a request from me. I never asked for any, I never diarized any, I never knew that was anything that was being done in my name. I never knew it. And I was not part of that. And I was not even in Cape Town in those days. All that I have learned, I've learned afterwards to say there was some dinners supposedly organized in my name. There were some people who were flown in and accommodated, and I don't even know who those people are.
Is that not worrying, Minister? What did you do about it?
It's worrying. It's very worrying. It's similarly worrying when there is a WhatsApp, if it is true, of a WhatsApp to General Mkhwanazi saying, Minister has arrived in Lusikisik, when in fact I had arrived there. But then the message is made like Mokgotsi is there with me and is relating that information, when in fact it was not like that. When in fact it was not like that. So that is equally worrying. And many other instances that are similar. But those things, I imagine now, they had not been part of any other relation I've had with Mokgotsi, or rather I was not aware if he was doing such things. I'm very concerned about that.
Based on what you've just said, Minister, when you say that Mr. Mokgotsi often sent you messages, right, out of the blue, that sometimes made no sense, are you suggesting that his communication was unsolicited? You also describe him as a crafty character. What exactly do you mean by that, Minister?
What
Do you
I mean?
know him well?
What do I-
You're saying now that you can't make sense of the fact that he would send these messages. You have no link with it. You've described him as a crafty character, and you've also earlier said that he would usually do this. He would usually send these messages.
Well, I spoke about craft in a context that we were discussing, but I maintain that because, as I said, if you send a message to General Mkhwanazi and you are Brown Mokgotsi, and you say, I'm with the minister, whatever the message was saying. Minister has just arrived in Lusisik. This being crafty in my view, because it creates an impression that indeed he's there and at my behest, which was never true, which is not true. It's like the other issue that General Mkhwanazi was raising of Brown Mkhotsi getting some document at the police station in Pangeni, which he said in a manner that creates an impression that just because I have a house there, not far from police station, I would have facilitated anything for Brown Mkhotsi. No, it's not like that. I never did that. I never knew anything about that. And other examples. So I am saying, other than the relationship of a mere comrade to another mere comrade, there are no other things that I've been doing or that I do with Brown Mkhotsi. I've been relating that. Nothing. No dinner, no lusikisiki, no fundraising that I have asked him to do. It has never happened. It has never happened. And if he claims, or anybody claims, I would want to see what evidence that would make people say, I have any other relationship with Brown Mkhotsi, which I say I don't have. And I even said in the Sizulu yesterday, why must I have?
Yeah, that is enough, Minister.
Okay, thank you.
Minister, what would be your response if I put it to you that the committee will hear testimony from former Minister Sele, that Kat Matlala told him that you and Brown Mkhotsi met with Kat Matlala to discuss a project which was your campaign for the ANC president or the deputy president?
I would outright say,
Point of order, Chair. No, I just want to.
Point of order taken.
I want to know utubani lesela khuluma ngalo Honorable James uthe Minister Sele ubani lesela khuluma ngalo. Thank you. Honorable James, you spoke of Isela Sele.
Honorable Shongwe says you speak about Sele. And then he wants to know who is Minister Sele.
Minister Bekitsele, my apologies.
Oh no, ngobe Isela. Okay, no Isela means Isela. Okay, no, thank you.
You want to say former minister?
Former Minister Bekitsele, my apologies.
now, if former Minister Bekitsele would say at one point, I met Matlala, I met Mkhotsi, and discussed something, that would be a lie, an outright lie. If it were to happen, it would be a lie, even without me asking for evidence, even before I do that, because I know that has never happened.
Minister, you appear to place great importance on public opinion. You said public?
This is the last question you are asking.
Yes.
Yes, you are now on the referee's optional time. The whistle can blow any time.
Noted, Chair. Minister, you appear to place great importance on public opinion. As it stands, there are widespread calls for you to vacate office, and you have become central to the internal divisions within SAPS. Would it not be in the best interest of South Africans and of restoring public trust for you to step down?
Well, I don't know what you are talking about. who are in an ad hoc commission or committee, we are dealing with the problems that we are dealing with at the moment. What you are introducing, I can't answer.
Thank you
It
so
is
much.
based on public perception that you
Thank
spoke
so
about.
much.
Thank you so much,
Thank you so
Chair.
much, honorable members. We will come back at 2 o'clock.